SLFPers.
අභියෝගයේ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඇමතිකම් මන්ත්‍රීකම් නැති වෙයි සංවිධායකම් නැති වෙයි හැබැයි අභියෝගය ජනතාව හමුවේ තිබෙනවා.
MPs attire stirs parliamentary session.
බලමුකෝ මේ ටයිකෝඩ් දාගෙන අපේ ගරු ඇමතුමා ඒ ආණ්ඩුවටත් මේ ආණ්ඩුවට සලකන හැටි
ගැන ඔබතුමා විදිහට අදින්න ඕනද? මම අදින්නේ අධිකරණයට අවශ්‍යයට
මේගොල්ලන්ට කරුණා කරලා මූලික පුහුණුව දෙන්න යවන්න මොන්ටිසෝරියට.
Dehiwala suicide bomber met an intelligence officer 45 minutes before detonating the explosives. Former IGP reveals in his statement at the Presidential Commission. 5-judge bench constituted to hear petitions against the 20th Amendment. New road to travel to Colombo on bicycles.
Good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. On to a more comprehensive look of those stories and many more. General Secretary of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, Dayasiri Sekar, says that the SLFP should prepare to re-enter politics. The State Minister made these remarks while addressing a memorial of the late SWRD Bandaranaike at the party headquarters today.
The memorial was held under the auspices of party chairman Maithripala Sirisena. After placing floral tributes at the statue of the late SWRD Bandaranaike, the former president expressed its views about the policies of SWRD Bandaranaike.
Democracy was established in the country and lives of the poor were improved during the 3.5 years SWRD Bandaranaike governed this country. During his period, international relations were strengthened. While he transformed the entire system, he was tormented in every way possible during this period. Finally, he was shot to death. When I took over as president on the 8th of January 2015, I was determined to follow the same vision shared by SWRD Bandaranaike and the SLFP. Although I was not shot to death or physically killed during my presidency, they assassinated my character.
මේ රටේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා මගේ යාන්ත්‍රික දක්ෂිණාංශික දේශපාලන බලවේග මාව වෙඩි තියලා මරලා නොදැම්මට මාව නොමරන ඇරුවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස්.
Do not forget that the SLFP has a clear future ahead.
පැහැදිලි ලෙසම අනාගතයක් තියෙනවායි කියන එක අමතක කරන්න එපා. අනාගතයක් තියෙනවායි කියන එක අමතක කරන්න. ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය දේශපාලන
I am of the stance that the SLFP should prepare to re-enter politics. We will face challenges and obstacles. Some will enter parliament, some will not. Some will lose their titles and positions. There are several problems that needs to be addressed. Instead of inconveniencing the government by publicly discussing such matters, we hope to communicate these issues to the President and the Prime Minister in the future. Thereafter, whatever the stance we will take it with the government. We were given the mandate to repeal the 19th Amendment. I believe we should support the government to draft a new constitution.
අලුත් ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවක් හදන ඒ ක්‍රියාවලියට අපි ශක්තිය දුව යුතුයි කියලා මම
Onto a startling revelation in today's bulletin. Former IGP Pujit Jayasundara said that Abdul Latif Jamil Mohammed, who detonated a suicide bomb at the lodge in Dehiwala, had met with an intelligence agent 45 minutes before he blew himself up. He made this statement while testifying before the Presidential Commission probing the April 21st attacks.
The former IGP said that Abdul Latif Jamil Mohammed had left Taj Samudra Hotel and took 2 3-wheelers to Dehiwala. He requested the commission to look into the intelligence agent and whether the intelligence agent met Jamil at an official capacity. Former IGP said, and I quote, "Bring these people here and question. You will find out a lot." End quote.
The officers attached to the Gonahena base of the Police Special Task Force conducted a special raid in Lunuvilla, Bennapur today. The raid was carried out based on a tip-off received by the Air Force Intelligence. The Police Special Task Force said one suspect was arrested for the possession of weapons, including live ammunition. The suspect had in his possession 6 swords, 5 Rambo knives and live ammunition rounds.
It was reported in court today that witness statements of the prosecution with regard to the 2002 Sri Lanka Police and Police Special Task Force raid on a safe house at the Millennium City housing complex have been misplaced. Several other documents were also damaged as they were not placed in a proper manner. The case was called up in the presence of Colombo High Court Judge Aditya Patabendige, and he immediately ordered the court registrar to submit a report as to why documents were not placed in a proper manner when the court had ordered for the documents to be sealed and placed in a safe. The case taken up was filed against former Assistant Superintendent of Police Kulasiri Udugampola for raiding the army safe house in Aturugiriya on the 2nd of January 2002. Retired Major General Kapila Hendavitarana, the former Director of Military Intelligence, testified in court today. In the cross-examination conducted by Defence Counsel, President's Counsel Salia Piris, the witness said a group including the defendant had carried out the raid on the safe house without any court order. The witness said it is his opinion that several officers from the Sri Lanka Corps of Military Police of the Sri Lanka Army were also involved in the raid, which was carried out in a conspiratorial manner. The former Director of Military Intelligence further said that subsequent to the raid, a certain faction had added a haul of illegal weapons to the cache discovered at the safe house. The witness further said he was aware the house was leased to the Sri Lanka Army by the wife of the captain who was in charge of the house.
In February this year, there was much controversy over a request to construct a volleyball ground in a plot of mangrove land in Negombo. The opposition raised against this by Gampaha Divisional Forest Department official Devani Jayatilaka went viral on social media. This morning, residents of Munnakkare protested, urging authorities not to remove soil from that area.
Various opinions were expressed regarding this land, which is a mangrove. The Department of Forest Conservation alleges that the mangrove is being destroyed. The Ministry of Fisheries refutes these claims. Over the years, soil removed from the Negombo Lagoon was dumped here. The Forest Department went to court seeking an order to remove the soil from this mangrove that is owned by the Forest Department. Fishermen of the Munnakkara village staged this protest today, and tensions grew high after the police arrived at the scene.
පර්චස් 75කට 80කට ආසන්න පොඩි බිම් කඩක්.
Children in Munnakkare village use this small land of about 75 to 80 perches to play for around 70 years now. There are no mangroves inside this area. We are sure of that. Under the lagoon management program, soil was dumped here under the authority of the divisional secretary and a number of other officials. Forest Department officer Devani filed a case in court and the court ordered for the soil to be removed. There was a discussion with State Minister of Fisheries Kanchana Wijesekara. The area residents and officials who attended the meeting were allowed to voice their concerns. Without allowing us to come to a consensus, he went by his own opinion and said that the soil must be removed.
පස්ටික ඉවත් කරන්න තීරණය කරා.
උසාවි අනුමැතිය ඇතු
They have come here to enforce a court order. All we are saying is take the sand that you have dumped from here without digging up this area. That is what all the villagers proposed. But these people want to remove the sand right out of the middle here.
මැදහරියකින් ආරලා ගන්න.
According to our correspondent, subsequently, the protesters dispersed.
As it was mentioned in your headlines today, Samagijana Balawega MP Chaminda Vijayasiri questioned the Minister of Justice regarding Dr. Safi Sahabdeen, who worked at the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital. The MP had inquired about the names and addresses of the lawyers who appeared for the doctor in the case against him.
ලංකාවේ මේ වන විට නඩු
There were 795,000 ongoing cases in Sri Lankan courts. The Ministry of Justice cannot hand over their names. If you want these names, you can pay the required sum and obtain a certified copy. The Ministry of Justice does not get involved in matters of the courts. We don't call anyone like the previous government did. We don't create courts targeting certain individuals.
මිනිස්සු තෝරගෙන උසාවි හදන්නෙත් නැහැ.
මේ දැනුවත්විත ප්‍රමාණය අනුව මේ වෙනදසත්කම් ප්‍රමාණය කරලා තියෙනවද නැද්ද කියන කාරණේ පිට ඔබතුමාගේ දැනුම
ඒක මන් තුමා මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අදාළ නැහැ.
ඔබතුමා අධිකරණයේ පවතින අඩුවක් ගැන අහන්න.
You are asking about an ongoing case. You are asking details about that case from me. How can I give you an answer? I told that to you from the start.
ඔබතුමාට මම මුලිනුත් කිව්වා ඒක.
මෙතුමා පළවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරේ දුන්නා.
He answered the first question. He said that he knew
I just questioned him to know the extent to which he is aware of the matter. As you are a very intelligent President's Council, we hope that these people will be punished. Even during the reign of the previous government, we spoke out and asked for the wrongdoers in the government to be punished. Let's see how our Honourable Minister wearing a tie and a coat treats this government and the previous government after the passage of the 20th Amendment.
ඔබතුමා වගේ අඳින්න ඕනද මම?
Should I dress like you? Should I get your permission and dress the way you want me to? I will wear what I want. This is the dress code required by courts. I don't have to dress the way you want. Who are you?
මේ අවශ්‍යයට ඔබතුමාට මොකද අවශ්‍ය විදියට මම අඳින්න ඕන. ඔබතුමා කවුද? ජාතිවාදී අවසන් දෙපා මෙතන. කම් බොරුවට මොනවද ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ? ප්‍රශ්නේ මොකද තේරුම? අධිකරණයේ පද්දන නඩු පිළිබඳ අපෙන් ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නේ. ඔබතුමාට ජාතිවාදී අවසන්ද අවශ්‍යලා දෙන්නේ. කතා කරන්නේ කොහොමද? සාජීවනයේ පිළිබඳ. අනිකරම වැරදි ඔය.
ඔන්න වියත්ගේ හැටි. ඔන්න වියත්ගේ හැටි. ලැජ්ජයි. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ මන්ත්‍රීවරු.
It is the right of an MP to raise questions in Parliament. It is the duty of ministers to answer those questions. The minister must answer these questions wisely and with a certain composure. A novice minister in this parliament is outraged and acting like this. What is the meaning of this behavior? Is this Vietmaga? Please give them some preliminary training. Send them to preschool. They have not been given basic training.
මුසාමිල් මන්ත්‍රීතුමා
ඔබතුමා වමේ මිනිස්සෙක් පොඩ්ඩක් දකුණත් බලන්න අධිකරණ විනිශ්චයකට
Questions regarding ongoing cases cannot be raised in Parliament. The first question I have is, if that is the case, how was this question included? This question cannot be included. I see this as a violation of regulations. They are coming and asking us who the lawyers are. They didn't even speak of this in Kurunagala in the past.
A Kurunagala district MP questioned as to whether this is how Vietmaga MPs behave. He said that they are not composed and are acting emotionally. I think the main reason for that was because the MP who raised the question spoke about the minister's attire. He has dressed in a way that he seems fit.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට එන්න සුදුසු විදියට තමයි එතුමා ඇඳගෙන ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ.
යම් කිසි විදියකට ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇහුවා මෙහෙම කෑකෝ ගහලා සැර කරලා එහෙම කරන්නේ නැහැ. නෑ පිළිගන්නවා ඒක වැරද්දකට කියප එකක් නෙමෙයි. පොඩ්ඩක් ඉන්නකෝ. නෑ ඒක තමයි මං කියන්නේ. ගරු ඇමතුමා මම ඔබතුමාගෙන් සාධාරණ ඉල්ලීමක් කරන්නේ. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එහෙම කෑ ගහන්න එපා ඇඟිල්ල දික් කරලා. සාමාන්‍ය එච්චරයි අපි කියන්නේ.
එහෙම අදහසකින් මම කිව්වේ නෑ. මගේ
I did not say it with such an intention. I responded to the reference made to my attire. But if the MP was affected by what I said in any way, I apologize. It's not a serious thing for me. That is how I am.
මම සමාවෙ දෙනවා මට ඒක ලොකු ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙවෙයි. මගේ හැටි.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa today emphasized to the officials that all orders issued verbally for the common good of the people should be considered as circulars and should be implemented.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who arrived at the Velangvita Halmudulla village in Badulla, participated in the Pilisandra People's Forum. During the forum, President Rajapaksa presented a number of solutions to the problems of the people.
අපි ගල්කන්ද නිකපත පව් 16ක් නැටි කර්මාන්තය කරනවා. ඒ නැටි ගේන්න බලපත්‍රය තමයි අපිට ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ආයතන වශයෙන් තියෙන ගැටලුවක් තමයි විවිධ ආයතන වලින් ඒගොල්ලන් තීන්දුව කියන ගන්නවා නිර්දේශ අපෙන් නොගෙන බලපත්‍ර දෙන්න එපා කියලා.
The issuance process must be simplified, so approval can be given within a period of 14 days. You must make arrangements to issue licenses to these locals. I am not a wavering president. If not, I will take steps against the state official. I made this statement in public. I made this statement after looking into this matter. I made this statement on behalf of the people. This is the circular. Note this down today. The statement made by me at this date and time is the circular. This should be informed to your seniors and they should solve this issue. Inform everyone that what is said by the president is the circular. There is nothing beyond that. This is what is meant by the executive presidency.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says that the issue of Indian fishermen entering Sri Lankan waters will be given prominence during a special virtual discussion with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi that is scheduled to take place tomorrow. The Prime Minister made these remarks today during a special discussion held with fishermen of the northern and eastern provinces. During the meeting, the fishermen present had explained this matter to the Prime Minister. With that, we cross over to a short commercial break. Stay with News First. We will be right back.
I'm different to you. I'm doing a 100% Middlesex University Bridge degree with no compromise in Sri Lanka. How about you? Call 071115-1234 to enroll now.
Welcome back. A 5-judge bench led by the Chief Justice Jayantha Jayasuriya was appointed to consider the petitions filed with Supreme Court of Sri Lanka challenging the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. The bench would also comprise Supreme Court Justices Buwanekalu Vihare, Sisira Diabru, Priyantha Jayawardena and Vijit Malalgoda. 18 petitions have been filed with the Supreme Court. These petitions will be taken up for consideration on the 29th of September.
Views regarding the 20th Amendment to the Constitution were expressed in the political sphere today.
There are plenty of political leaders across the globe holding dual citizenship. Even the Prime Minister of Australia is a dual citizen. When I was the General Secretary of the SLFP, I participated in a conference organized by Mahathir Mohamad's party. When I was bestowed with an honorary Malaysian citizenship by Mahathir Mohamad, it was given to me as a gift. I was not aware as to how long it was valid. As we all know, Mahathir Mohamad is not someone who gives into the opposition. He did not hold elections fairly either. However, he developed Malaysia. Park Chung-hee was an army general who ruled South Korea. He developed South Korea and made his country rich. These are only a few examples. We should not worry when patriotics are vested with executive powers.
The 20th Amendment is detrimental to our country. The amendment will abolish all commissions and vest all powers with the President. This goes against the democratic framework. This may get approved in Parliament because they have a majority, but we will continue to fight against it.
Changes to the 20th Amendment can be made during the committee stage. I believe there is no opposition from the parliamentary group. If there are drawbacks in the constitutional amendment, they will be rectified. Do not make an issue out of the dual citizenship. Dual citizens were allowed to contest before. In my view, all parties of the opposition must rise against the 20th Amendment, as this is detrimental to our democracy in our country.
This matter has been taken to courts. The 20th Amendment will weaken the powers of the Parliament and judiciary. Judicial independence and democracy in our country will be weakened. The people must have power, and this amendment will reduce the power of the people. We will not support this.
We will accept whatever the decision given by the court. There is no issue in that. As per the constitution, proposals to amend any act presented in parliament can be put forward within a 7-day period. We will accept whatever the decision given by court.
The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force ships engaged in a combined naval exercise carried out with the Sri Lankan Navy.
Sri Lanka's geopolitics.
Port of Colombo is directly linked to the history of relations between Sri Lanka and Japan. Refreshing these memories, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force, Kaga and Ikazuchi arrived at the Colombo port on the 23rd of September for a 2-day official visit. The JMSDF ship Kaga, a multi-purpose operation destroyer, is 248 meters in length and is manned by 380 crew members. The other ship, Ikazuchi, a destroyer-class ship, is a 151 meters long platform manned by a crew of 170. Deputy Chief of Staff of the Navy and Commander of the Western Naval Area, Rear Admiral Sumit Veerasinghe, met with the flag officer aboard JS Kaga, Rear Admiral Kono Yashishige, to mark the arrival. The Sri Lanka Navy said this evening that the two ships departed from the island yesterday on successful completion of a combined naval exercise with the Sri Lanka Navy.
The Japan Today website reported Sri Lanka's government ordered the termination of a $1.5 billion Japanese-funded light rail project, saying it is not a cost-effective solution for the congested capital Colombo. The Japan International Cooperation Agency loaned 48 billion rupees to finance the first phase of the light rail transit. Japanese technology, including rolling stock, was to be used on the rail system, which included 16 stations over 15.7 kilometers. The Japanese loan carries an interest rate of 0.1% and is repayable over 40 years with a 12-year grace period. Japan Today reported that the Transport Ministry was ordered by the Secretary to the President PB Jayasundara to terminate this project and close the project office with immediate effect. Meanwhile, the government has planned to construct a cycle path from the Colombo Port City access to Diyata Uyana in Battarmulla. Western Province Director of the Urban Development Authority WAGK Gunatilaka said plans have to be drafted for the construction of the cycle path connecting multiple cities from the Colombo Port City access to Diyata Uyana in Battarmulla. The project is aimed at benefiting school students, employees, local and international tourists, as well as cycling enthusiasts, and it would ensure a safe environment is created for those who travel using bicycles. The Government Information Department said the proposed cycle path will span 23 kilometers and will comprise of a minimum width of 1.5 meters to a maximum of 2.5 meters. Adding construction will commence from the Colombo Port City. An announcement issued by the Government Information Department said that under the first phase, there will be 11 bicycle rental points along the route, and that the project is scheduled to be completed in 2021.
The Committee on High Posts of the Sri Lankan Parliament has approved the appointments of 8 diplomats.
The high-level committee met today under the auspices of Speaker Mahinda Yapa Abeyewardena. 8 names were approved for appointment to the post of diplomats. Accordingly, Milinda Morogoda will be Sri Lanka's High Commissioner to India. C.A. Chandraprema will be Sri Lanka's Permanent Representative to the United Nations. Ravinatha Arisinghe will be Sri Lanka's new Ambassador to the United States of America. S. Amarasekara will be Sri Lanka's new High Commissioner to South Africa. Retired Admiral KKVP Haris Chandra Silva will be Sri Lanka's new ambassador to Afghanistan. Vishramal Sanjeev Gunasekara will be Sri Lanka's new ambassador to Japan. Professor Shanika Hirimguregama will be Sri Lanka's new ambassador to France. Dr. Palitha Kohana was named as Sri Lanka's new ambassador to China.
The epidemiology unit said that the Russian national who was early identified as COVID-19 positive has not contracted the virus. The Russian national tested negative for COVID-19 after a PCR test conducted at the Hambantota General Hospital.
The employees of the tourist hotel had left to their house while they were in quarantine. This is unacceptable and we do not approve their actions. When we conducted another PCR test on the Russian national, we did not identify the virus. So this concludes that the possibility of the virus spreading is minimum. Meanwhile, parliamentarian Manusha Nanayakara made revelation today. The government is paving way for political patronage where no activity or process will be audited or reviewed by independent experts. The government has named Avantgarde as an institution to manage and allocate charter flights and hotels for quarantine facilities. What procurement guidelines did they follow when selecting Avantgarde for this purpose? Which rule or regulation did they follow? If the government is misusing their powers under existing laws, imagine what they would do after they amend the laws and rules to their wishes. The people are worried about the future of this country.
The Gum at the teams completed the 28th day of the Gum at the Door-to-Door initiative today as they continue to lend an ear to the people, listening closely to the issues they face.
We reached the Ranpalma village, barely avoiding an area which is prone to landslides. But the people in this village do not have a proper road to travel on from the day they settled in the village. There is no proper road to travel on even when they have to go to the hospital. Many people in this village have died after they ran out of time in the race against time to the hospital. To make matters worse, they do not have access to clean drinking water as well. From day one, since they encountered this problem, the authorities have told them to be patient. They patiently wait until a solution is provided to them. However, the authorities continue to turn a blind eye. The Palayakadu village in Haputalewatta, the Badula district, is just 500 meters away from the Badula town. But a small stream of water can be seen flowing on the only road they have to reach the town. On rainy days, the flow of water is too strong and the villagers are unable to go anywhere. They ask this road to be constructed so that they can resume their daily activities with no difficulty. Our Gum at the team visiting the Ampara district toured around the Gallode village in Padiyatalawa. 36 families who reside in this village have no access to clean drinking water.
A demonstration was held in Colombo today in line with Global Day of Climate Action.
The demonstration was held opposite the Viharadamadevi Park in Colombo this evening. The demonstration was organized by several environmental activist organizations including Earth Guardian Sri Lanka, Climate Action Now, Rally for Animal Rights and Environment and Extinction Rebellion, and the Wildlife and Nature Protection Society.
Last year, Earth Guardians held a climate strike. This year, we're holding another one because nothing has changed. It's only got worse. There's so much deforestation, destruction. The plastic situation hasn't got any better. So we've joined together with other environmental activist groups this year to impact people's mindset on the climate emergency.
We have seen multiple examples of deforestation occurring in multiple locations across the country, specifically related to protected areas, and we are here today to try and find a way to mitigate those. It is my personal appeal to the Ministry of Wildlife Resources and Forest Conservation and the subject minister C.B. Ratnayaka to get something done with regard to the deforestation that's happening in the country. And I also appeal to subject minister Mahinda Amaraweera of the Ministry of Environment to also help with these matters.
3 people, including a woman, were arrested in Udulumbara, Kandy, for killing a leopard and attempting to sell its meat. Police said the trio were arrested along with a 3-wheeler following an investigation.
Preliminary police investigations revealed that the leopard was trapped in a snare set up for pigs. The 2 male suspects had killed the leopard and prepared its meal for sale, and the woman was arrested for assisting them in this criminal act. Police said the incident had taken place on the 8th of September and the leopard was skinned at night and the meat was packed in 2 bags. Among the arrested are a married couple from Kalalgamur and the other suspect is from Verapitiya. Police in its investigation discovered that the leopard meat and parts of its body at the residence of the suspects and are conducting further investigation to locate the missing body parts. The suspects are to be produced at the Teldini Magistrates Court on the 28th of this month. The court ordered that the body parts of the leopard be sent to the veterinary unit of the University of Peradeniya to obtain a report.
On that gruesome note, The central bank has invited bids from primary dealers for another series of treasury bonds worth 75 billion rupees, which is due to be issued through an auction on the 28th of this month.
Accordingly, 45 billion rupees worth of treasury bonds will be offered under the series of 5.75%, and 30 billion rupees worth of treasury bonds will be offered at 5.35%. The government offered 40 billion rupees of treasury bills during this week's auction, out of which only 19.1 billion rupees of treasury bills were sold. The central bank had received bids of 52.4 billion rupees, approximately 1.27 times the offered value, a marginal decline compared to last week, where bids worth 58.6 billion rupees was received for a treasury bill issue of 40 billion rupees. Market analysts point out that despite government securities being risk-free investments, many investors have reduced their appetite on government securities owing to the prevailing market and economic conditions.
So with this, we can see that there is upward pressure in the bill auction. That's the main reason why the investors have bidded at the caps itself. Also, another concern of the investors were the sovereign bond that is due in the month of October. On the 20th of October, there is $1 billion due to be paid by the government. So there is pressure on that side as well. With that also, if you take all these together, there is somewhat of a upward pressure in the market at the moment.
Data showed that about 12 billion rupees had been printed last week, mainly to keep the 12-month yield at 4.88%.
Renowned Indian singer S.P. Balasubramaniam, a Guinness World Record holder for his more than 40,000 songs over 50 years, has died, aged 74. With that, it's a wrap of Primetime News for today. I'm Tharusha Kumar Singh along with our sign language interpreter Brian D. Cruz. Have a great and a safe Friday night. Good night.